when I was, again, I'm 7, 8 years old, and I'm the runt of the litter. There were 2 other 8-year-olds, and it went from 7, 8 to 16. And I remember at 8 years old going into my friend's attic. We're all there, and they're watching this stag film, and I didn't know what a stag film was. And I'm watching people have sex and all this stuff, and I grew up very, very, very fast. By the time I was 10 years old, there was nothing I didn't know in relationship to drugs or sex, like nothing I didn't know. Benefited me because I wasn't attached where other kids, I wasn't smart enough to be attached almost. And other kids my age, like they would make you do things. This is ugly stuff, but so I always used to say this, I would go home and I knew if I got home I was safe. And looking back on it, I realized why I made it and my friends didn't, the younger kids, because when they went home, they probably went to something that was even worse than what they were experiencing in the neighborhood. For me, I had a safe haven at home. And I always knew that in the back of my head. So nothing was really that scary. And I feel like I got lucky. I'll tell you a story about a game when you turn 12 in my neighborhood called Vietnam Blackjack. So 1971, when the kids in my neighborhood, and they all had to go to Vietnam because none of them they were all dropouts and blah, 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 blah. But they came back with all this long hair and leather jackets and motorcycles, and they were called degenerates all of a sudden. But the girls loved the degenerates. So everybody wanted to be a degenerate. And all these guys were all heroin addicts. So what they tried to do when you turned 12, you played a game called Vietnam Blackjack. And if you won the hand, you get to go as far as your 12-year-old courage allowed you with their girlfriends who were 17, 18. They were women. Now, nobody had the courage for that. But if you lost, you had to snort this little line of brown powder. And nobody knew it was heroin. Oh my God. I'll never forget to this day, like petrified. Teresa D'Annunzio, who didn't have a crush on her? She was gorgeous. And I was scared to death. I lost the hand on purpose. I bent down, I snorted this brown powder. When I picked my head up, nothing was ever the same. Because I was not afraid anymore. And my father made homemade wine. So all of a sudden, that was my courage. I would steal the homemade wine, me and my friends would drink it, and we're all studs, but thank God I didn't have a addictive personality and I had a younger brother. And I knew that, because what they were doing was trying to recruit you to become addicted to heroin. So you'd be one of their customers. And it was littered. My neighborhood the nickname was the Bermuda Triangle. It bordered on the Bronx and Yonkers, but it was because nobody made it out alive. I remember sitting next to guys who would shoot up, miss a vein, and their arms would blow up. I grew up 3 blocks away from a methadone clinic that, that's what they used to get everybody off of heroin. It just seemed normal. It just seemed normal, all of it. There was a tattoo parlor that they would bring coffins out of it when they raided the place. It was it was a bit of a zoo, but again, it seemed normal. And I think what saved me was sports and having a younger brother. There was a line I would not cross. And thank God I was deathly afraid of needles. So I would never go near needles. But, from 13 to, 20, today I'd be considered a drug addict. Like, you do drugs every night.